We're still looking at Homer Laughlin toiletware. We've got two shapes left to go, Bridal and Duchess. So today we're looking at Bridal. And this is one of my favorite Homer Laughlin shapes, simply because it has very strong embossing. Sometimes when you're looking at toiletware or dinnerware from the early 1900s, the embossing can be rather weak. But for most of the Bridal pieces, it's going to be rather pronounced and strong. We'll look at an example of some embossing detail. This is a Maltheur. It's pattern number 7051, blended blue tint. We'll look at another piece with strong embossing. Another Maltheur. This is pattern number 2139X with just simple gold line. And you can see this really nice embossing detail. We can attribute this shape to Arthur Mountford, who was at Homer Laughlin during the time of the King Charles dinnerware shape. He was also responsible for the initial offerings of Laughlin art china. When we start looking at art china, we're going to revisit Bridal very briefly and compare it to some other shapes, particularly the gem jug. But for now, we'll just look at some of these pieces and their treatments. In the back, we have a row of large ewers and then some Maltheurs in front of them. A collection of shaving mugs, some brush faces, and a covered soap dish, which we see here has a regular Homer Laughlin marking. So actually, before we look at the treatments, look at the markings, because Bridal has more markings than any other toiletware shape. So you'll find the pretty standard eagle over lion Laughlin marking. Then you find it again with patent applied for. Let's see, there's another one. Here it is. Eagle and lion with Laughlin and copyrighted. And then you see the regular old Homer Laughlin marking. This one doesn't have a date code, but one's made 1912 and afterwards will. And here we see one from October of 1912, 10-2. If you want to know what those numbers mean, go to the website, laurelhollowpark.net. I have a special page devoted to understanding the date codes of the back stamps. So another thing we notice with the Duchess shape, we're seeing more decals. So we've got this like floral bouquet in the back. We've got scattered sprigs, daisies. This is daisy and poppies. We've got rose decals. So we're seeing less of the underglaze prints. We're seeing less blended tints, and we're still seeing the gold stipple. And Bridal's pretty much the last toiletware shape to have this gold stipple. Once we get to Duchess, there's no more gold stipple, and there's not really much blended tints. Everything's starting to get simplified once you get to Bridal, and once you get to Duchess, that's, as we're going to see in the next video, it's really simplified because that's a very Art Nouveau shape. So some of these treatments we'll look at. We've already looked at the blended tint version. Again, you don't see a whole lot of blended tint on Bridal, not nearly as much as you do on Mingo and Wyoming. This decal, I think this is a peony decal. This is treatment 2231 with just some simple gold tracing. Lilacs, now this is an underglaze print with filled in details. We saw a lot of those on Mingo and Wyoming. And this is 2208. This is a partial tint with a wild poppy decal. That's 2226. Some simple gold stippling going on with this one. Pattern number 2218. The scattered sprigs with gold stipple, 2223. The daisies with gold lines, 2216. And this has our copyrighted eagle and lion marking. So that's a little bit about Bridal. It's a really nice shape. It's not as easy to find as Mingo and Wyoming. One thing I'll point out, this is a rather nice piece in the back. It's got a lot going on. You've got blended tints at the bottom. You've got an underglaze holly print with filled in details. You've got gold stippling. And then next to it you have something rather ordinary, just an underglaze print. So we still are seeing quite a variety of treatments, as I said before, with Bridal. But once we get to Duchess, and that's going to be our last shape, you know, it's Art Nouveau. It's very simple. So yeah, that's going to be it for Bridal for now. Next time we'll look at Duchess.